and supporters and subscribers. I do appreciate that. This video we cover Fort Humboldt State Park. Fort Humboldt was established in 1853 as a local fort where most of the European Americans stayed, and they dealt with the Native Americans also. It's on a hill overlooking Humboldt Bay, and now it's sort of overlooking Bayshore Mall also. It became a historic state park in 1955, and there are a lot of historical items on the park still. It is free to visit and roam around the park. There's a welcome area where they have brochures for all the other state parks in California if you're there and want to catch up on other information about other parks. The Wiyot tribe, a Native American group, lived in this area for thousands of years with a flourishing culture. And then in May of 1849, someone discovered gold on the Trinity River, and that brought the Wiyot way of life to an end as fortune seekers came to the state from far away. And then there were disputes between the Native Americans and the settlers, and the military was sort of there to help settle those disputes. The settlers sought the Native Americans' land rather than clearing their own space in the redwoods. This led to conflict. By 1857, 14 redwood and plaster structures had been built in a U-shape around a parade ground. Due to its strategic location, high on the bluff, no outer walls were built to protect the company of soldiers. The military troops found themselves acting as mediators between the settlers and the Indians to resolve conflicts and avoid violence. Many newcomers wanted the indigenous people moved to reservations out of the area. In an effort to bring about a sustainable peace, 7 agreements were signed with California Indians living between Clear Lake and Klamath River. These treaties were never ratified by the government, and the tribes never received the land that they had been promised. When most federal troops departed for the Civil War, prominent local citizens formed a self-proclaimed militia. On February 26, 1860, the militia attacked 5 separate Wiyot villages over a 30-hour period, massacring several hundred unarmed Indians. A village within sight of Fort Humboldt was burned completely. The Army built an 80-foot open corral near the fort to hold both captive Native Indian prisoners and those who sought refuge at the fort from vigilantes. When they're fed an unfamiliar diet with hardtack and beans, some Native Americans died of dysentery, others were killed in continuing violent outposts. More than 200 Wiyot people died before the remainder could be forcibly resettled on reservations. Today, the surviving descendants of the Wiyot have established federal recognition. They have regained portion of Indian land and are restoring its plundered native sites. There is historical logging equipment in the park also, sort of as a museum piece to see how things were. Old steam engines were used.
that means I would have to hit the 7:30 run. So I would have to leave here about 5:30 in the morning.
Come on.
There's a line in the tree for every year it has grown, so you can count the lines to see how old the trees are. Life at the fort was not fun for the early military. A bugle call or drumbeat regulated the routine of fort life. Fort Humboldt supplies, the mail, and even soldiers' pay were often delayed for months. They were away from family and friends, isolated and lonely. Soldiers found the time pass slowly. Many of them deserted. Ulysses S. Grant, a famous Civil War figure for the North in the United States, was stationed at Fort Humboldt in 1854. He was a loner, spent a lot of time on his own, and after 5 months he resigned his commission and went home to farm. Later during the Civil War, he rejoined the Army, was promoted to colonel, and rose to lead the Union troops as a general. Then he became the 18th President of the United States, serving 2 terms. The fort was abandoned as a military post in 1870. The Cooper family bought the land with its remaining hospital in 1893. In the early 1920s, Laura Cooper donated the property to the city of Eureka to commemorate the U.S. Grant service as the fort's quartermaster. The city transferred title to the state. Fort Humboldt became the state historic park in 1963. The Period House Museum and the reconstructed Surgeon's Quarters is open for viewing. The urban flower garden is filled with authentic period plants. Along the parade grounds, the gravel path connects Native American exhibits with three-dimensional fort-era exhibits and an open-air logging display. This is what it looked like inside the building in 1854.
Stay there, Richard. Hey, Jen.
This is the district state park office.
That's the headquarters. I don't know where.
Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video.